right, what's up, guys? Doing a impromptu live session today, so we'll see how this goes. Give it a couple minutes here, see if some people jump on. Oh, we got a few people. Let me know where you're coming from, where you're joining us from across the nation. All right, got a few people jumping on. That's good. Atlanta, awesome. Never been to Atlanta. I've been to Atlanta Airport. California. Love California. Awesome place to visit. Riverside, awesome. All right, guys. So got a few people jumping on. While people are jumping on, I just wanted to kind of, this is something that's kind of, like I said, impromptu session. So we'll see how it goes. But it's around this idea that I was thinking about today. And that idea is this question that I posed. And the question is, are you recession proof? Now, what does that mean? What does that mean to be recession proof? This is something that I've been pondering lately, because here's the thing, guys. I'm sure, let me state the obvious. I'm sure you all have noticed that the increase in the cost of goods right now, that expenses for everything are going through the roof, right? I mean, surely it's not me that has only felt that. Like, I just watched a video the other day that said that the average gas price per gallon is coming up on $5 a gallon across the nation. That is insanity. And I don't care like who you are, like unless you're making like millions of dollars a year, like that affects you, right? That affects you and your family. Is this inflation and the cost of everything going up. And a lot of people are starting to speculate and to say that we may be going into a recession in the nation. Now, whether we are or not, it doesn't matter, because can we even control that? You know, can we control whether we go into a recession as individuals? I don't think we can. But what we can control is our knowledge, our ability, and our skills to be able to generate income in any type of environment. Yeah, some of you are saying you're coming up on 6. California is between 6.29 and almost and 9.50 a gallon. Like, it's just crazy. It's just insanity. Like, I ate lunch the other day, and it cost me $16 for a sandwich, a bag of chips, and a cookie, and a soda. And I was just like, should have gone home and had a PB&J, you know? Like, it's madness. And so I wanted to kind of jump on here and talk about, okay, how do we as individuals prepare ourselves and become recession proof as people? How are we able to control our income despite what the market is doing? Okay. And I can only, like, if you're new, welcome. If you know who I am, I can only share what I have done and what I'm doing, right? And so I can only share that with you guys. And so I wanted to I like to keep a spreadsheet of like my income and what's coming in and what I'm doing. Okay. And so I just went through really quick and kind of went through what has been going on as far as overage cases this year. Okay. And so what I'm going to share with you is just this little spreadsheet that I keep with my deals. And so these are some of the deals that I've done so far this year. You can see the dates on the left-hand side and then the amounts on the right. And you'll notice that these aren't super large amounts, right? Like, we got 2,000 here, 3,000 there, 1,800 here, 4,000 there. Here's a larger one for 8,000. all across the board. Here's a little one for like $200. Here's one for $800. So like not huge deals. These are not home run deals. Okay. This one was a home run deal. But most of these are pretty standard cases. And you can see right here that is the income that I've generated from overage deals so far in 2022. None of this factors in any of my other sources of income. This is only overage deals that I've been involved in this year and that have paid out this year. Okay. So with that being said, would it be beneficial for you to know the steps of how I accomplish this? Okay. Would you be interested in that? Would that be okay if I shared that with you? Okay. Because here is my answer. Now, you may have a different answer, and that's totally cool. Feel free to share with me your thoughts as well. How do we become recession proof? For me, the answer to that question is you have to have skills and knowledge that you can utilize that can generate an income no matter what the market is doing. Okay. And with overages and surplus funds, I'm not going to go as far and say as that industry is recession proof, but I will say that overages and surplus funds is recession resistant. Let's call it that. Fair enough. Because what is overages and surplus funds? You probably all know what that is. But if you don't know what that is, an overage is when somebody's property is sold for more than the debt owed on it. Okay. So a tax sale overage. A tax sale is when somebody loses their home for not paying their property taxes. Well, if an investor buys that home, let's say somebody owes $10,000 in property taxes, and an investor pays $50,000 for that home, then there is a $40,000 overage. Make sense? Okay, so it's the price of what a property sold for minus the debt owed on it. And that is the difference is known as an overage or a surplus of funds or excess proceeds, anything like that. And these funds, these surplus funds can be generated from all types of sales, primarily tax sales and foreclosure sales. You've also got HOA sales. And, there's a lot of that going on every single day. There's a lot of people lose their home to foreclosure and tax sale every single day. There's over 3,000 counties in the U.S. Okay. Most of those have at least one tax sale a year. Most of those counties have several foreclosures going on every month. Okay. So there's a lot of money out there, bottom line. Okay. And so here's the things that you need to do to prepare yourself for a recession is number one, make sure you're developing skills and knowledge that allow you to generate an income independent of your job or your business or your industry. Because as we learn in COVID, a lot of our jobs, a lot of our businesses suffered greatly because of shutdowns, right? Like who would have known that the country would shut down for over a year? Well, we found out, and a lot of people suffered because of that, because their business could not generate an income in that type of environment. Okay. Now, with overages, we have found that in really good times, you have less foreclosures, you have less tax sales. But when you do have those types of properties that go to sale, there are very large overages that are generated. Okay, so you have larger overages that you can pursue, but less deals. In a down environment, in a recessionary time, what you would have is the opposite of that. You would have a lot of foreclosures, but lower overage amounts. Okay, so you'd have more deals to go after, but smaller amounts. That makes sense? And that is the reason why I say that overages and surplus funds is recession resistant. Okay. Now, the steps that you have to take in order to take advantage, and the skill sets that you need to learn are as follows. There's 5 steps. I call it the overage profitability formula. So I'm going to share that with you right now. Let's see, stop share. And let me change over my screen here. Okay, can you guys see that okay? Maybe. Hopefully you guys can see this. So there's 5 steps. Here are the 5 steps. Number 1 is you got to create leads. Now a lead is just somebody that's owed money, somebody that's entitled to an overage or a surplus of funds. That's your first step. Step number 2 is you got to conduct research. Research consists of 2 parts. Part number 1 is skip tracing, which is finding the contact information of the person owed money, okay? Finding the contact info of the lead. The second part is making sure that that person is the one entitled to the overage, okay? This could also be referred to as title work. So that's your research phase. Once you've got your leads, you've got their contact info, and you verified that they are owed the funds, then you reach out to them, you contact them. This is step 3, okay? You can do step 3 a variety of different ways, via call, text message, email, letters, social media messaging. There's all types of ways to contact people, okay? Once you've gotten in touch with them, let them know that they're entitled to an overage and that you can help them recover that. Then you close the deal, meaning you send out a contract, or you can contract. That's the 4th step. And that simply just means you get a piece of paper that says, in exchange for your services, in exchange for you helping them recover the money owed to them, you will take a percentage. And that is whatever you can negotiate, okay? Now, there are limits in some states, but you just have to be aware of the rules, be aware of the laws, and make sure you use an attorney. And that leads you to your last step, which is to profit. And this consists of filing your claim with the entity holding the funds and then waiting for your check to arrive. In this phase, I strongly recommend using an attorney to file your claim to make sure everything is done correctly and properly, okay? And those are the 5 steps, okay? So it's really important to be able to learn how to accomplish each one of these steps, okay? And if you can do that, if you can do these 5 things on a repeatable basis and a consistent basis, what you then can do is you can generate income regardless of how your job or your business is affected in a recessionary time period, okay? Makes sense? So that's the process of how to recover overages, and those are the skill sets needed to be successful in this business, okay? And so the question you have to ask yourself, guys, is do you feel confident that your job or your current business will not be affected if we go into a recession? Or do you feel confident that if you continue to make the same income you have now and costs of goods continue to increase, do you feel confident that you'll be okay? If you do, if you feel confident, stop watching this right now and keep doing what you're doing because you're in a good place. But if you feel a little bit of anxiety or you feel a little bit of uncertainty and you feel like you could benefit from having an extra income source, then I would strongly recommend that you learn about the skills and start developing and practicing these things so that you can develop that income now. And so the increase, and if we do go into a recession, that does not affect you as much as it would if you did not have those skills and if you did not have that knowledge. Okay, makes sense? So wanted to share that with you guys. I don't know if that's helpful at all, but it's really important just to prepare yourself is basically the bottom line. And so that's how you, and those are the things that you need to do, is that 5-step process. That's what you need to, those are the skills you need to develop. Okay. So any questions about that? Some of you probably are very familiar with that process already, and that's okay too. It's still good to go back and revisit it. Okay. And that's, that's the entire reason why I do what I do and I teach what I teach, right? Is I teach people that entire process inside my program. Is okay, here's how you find leads. Here's how you do your research. Here's all the paperwork you'll need. Here's how you find attorneys. And we lay out the system that you can follow so that you can develop that skill set. Okay. And you can be able to have that ability to generate income on the side, regardless of what's going on in the world. And so that's it. So that's, and it works. It is a repeatable process that works. There's plenty of examples of people that have used that process that I just showed you, that 5-step process, and that are now generating, full-time incomes on a part-time basis. And you can check those out on YouTube. Just Google overage syndicate reviews and stuff like that. And that's it. So just want to share that with you guys. And if there's any questions, happy to answer them, but I don't see any questions. So, all right. So just, I don't know, guys, prepare yourselves is the bottom line in whatever you're doing. And it doesn't have to be overages either, but make sure that you have and are developing additional skill sets and knowledge that you can utilize if times get hard. Okay. That is the biggest thing. So very, very important that you do that. Okay. And if you feel overages is a good path for you, cool. Here to help you with that. If you feel something else is a better fit, cool. There's lots of different ways to be able to generate income, right? I do think there will be opportunities to be had, especially if you're in the real estate niche. I recently just did a deal in Nevada. It wasn't an overage deal. It was like more of a real estate deal where we acquired the deed to a property for just the back taxes owed on it. And I think there will be a lot of that opportunity as well coming up if we do go into a recession. So that's the other part of this too, guys. Even if, let's say, you don't need income, for your everyday needs, it's still very important to generate extra cash to hold that on the side, so that you can be able to take advantage of opportunities or be able to help somebody out of a rough situation like a tax sale or foreclosure, while at the same time making a good return on your money, or creating some sort of win-win scenario, right? Because that is where lots of people say that a lot of wealth is created during recessionary periods. And I believe that to be true, but you also need to be able to have cash on the side ready to go so that you can take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to you. And so very, very important to just, even if you don't need income, generate more so that you have more cash saved and available so that you can increase your wealth and your financial situation as during tough times, okay? While helping those along the way that need the help. All right. Yeah, Serena, go ahead. What's your question? I wish I could call people up and have them talk live, but I don't think I have that capability with this. It's not like Zoom, unfortunately. And I could do Zoom, but then people would have to log in and all that. So So the question is, do we have to use a real estate attorney, or can you just be a general attorney? It can be any attorney. What you want to make sure of is, if you're hiring an attorney, make sure that they're familiar with the process, or they at least have some experience with overages and surplus funds. That's the biggest thing. And sometimes it's hard to find one that has that experience. And so it's really important to, even if they don't have experience in surplus funds, it's okay, but they need to, number one, be able to be open to learning that niche. And the biggest thing is communication. Make sure that your attorney is a good communicator and that they get back to you in a timely manner and all that good stuff. That's the biggest thing. Is you don't want an attorney that thinks they know it all and that sees you as beneath them because you're not an attorney. You want something that's more of like a partner, okay, and that's willing to work in conjunction with you and communicate and learn from you. And it needs to be a mutually beneficial relationship. So that's the biggest thing, good communication with an attorney. So awesome. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you. Hope you have a great day. If you have any questions, post them down below. We can get back to you later. We also have, I go live usually on Monday mornings. So you can ask questions there, just basic questions about the business and stuff like that. And then if you have any interest in learning more about overages, okay, or if you're curious to see what I may have to offer, you can go to this website. It's posted there right in the chat, okay? And you can check out the entire curriculum and everything that you get and what you learn at school.overagecourse.com. And so you can check everything out. Here's the curriculum, okay? So that may be helpful for you as well. And then, of course, you can also do your due diligence. Check out and see what other people are saying. What results have they gotten, okay? And, make sure that it's a good fit for you and that you feel good about doing it, okay? And that's it. So appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful day. And we'll see you in the next one, whenever that is. If not tomorrow, then Monday. Timothy, okay, one last question. What are some of the main objections you run into when doing mortgage overages? The biggest thing, guys, the biggest objection that you're going to come across is people believing that it's real, that it's not a scam. Because when you call someone and you say, hey, you're owed money, they're like, yeah, right, what's the catch? And that's your biggest objection. And so you have to be able to learn how to communicate and educate people so that they understand that it's not a scam, that this is legit, that it is real. And that's the biggest thing you need to, as far as, so that specific skill set would fall under contacting, right? How do you communicate with people? How do you educate them on the process? And so that's why it's really important, especially if you're not like good at sales like me. Like, I'm a very introverted person by nature. Really important that you use a script and that you practice what to say and how to answer questions and how to overcome specific objections. So that's why it's really important to use a script whenever necessary. So, and you can find that in section 3. That's part of contacting. Very important. Very important. So Ed, it depends. His question is, once property tax overage is disputed to the state from the county, are the funds available to go after? Depends on the state, Ed. It depends on, when you say they go to the state, are you saying, do they go to the unclaimed funds department, or do they go into a fund that can be used by the state? Like, for example, in Texas, if tax overages is cheat after the 2-year period, they're not claimable. They're gone. they now become the property of the state of Texas, and I think they put it into their school education fund or something like that. And so in that scenario, in that particular state, no, you couldn't go after those if it goes to the state. In some states, like my home state of Utah, like a tax overage, if it goes from the county to the state, you can still claim it. You just have to go through the state unclaimed funds department. And now you have to operate under state unclaimed fund law or unclaimed property law. And that gets to be a pain in the butt because now you probably have more fee limitations. Okay. You're going to have more red tape. You have less control of the process. You're probably going to be waiting a whole lot longer for your claim to pay out. And so it's a pain in the butt, but you can still get the money. So hopefully that answers the question. If you're asking about Idaho specifically, I know that tax overages in Idaho do go from the county to the state, and you can claim them through the unclaimed fund department. So yeah. What's the longest amount of time you had to wait for funds to be given out / available? That's a great question. I've got a case right now. I've been waiting over a year for the money to be paid out. So depends again wherever you're working. But right now I've got one that's going on over a year, probably coming up on 2 years. That's not the norm, but it does happen. So, all right, guys, have a good one. We will talk to you later.